Hello, my name is Rhys and welcome back to FM hopefully helping you get the best out of Football Manager. Today we've got a quick tips video, so hit the like button if you enjoy it, hit subscribe if you're new around here, plenty of content coming from me, FM22 related, and let's get into tip number 1. So I'm at the start screen here on Football Manager 2022, so we're going to flow through the game as if we are starting a new game and we're going to tip you up straight from there. So tip number 1, you've started a new career game and you see the screen asking you which club you want to manage. Quick tip, don't click the club you want to manage yet and choose pick team later. The reason for this will become apparent slightly later in the video. Advanced setup is then where you want to go in the bottom right hand corner, give you the opportunity to load the leagues that you want and the size of database that you want as well. And that leads us on to tip number 2, which is a custom database. If you click onto your database here on the right hand side, this will manage the amount of players that are in your game, okay? Large database is usually obviously preferred for the more players, and the more leagues you load in to your game, the larger that database will become. So if we load Italy, France, Germany, and Spain here, you can see we got 36,000 players in our large database. Now, if we go into advanced, click on continents, for example, and Europe, and then we can choose to load players with continental reputation that play for top clubs and also play for clubs in continental competitions, for example. You can see then straight away our database has jumped from 30-odd thousand to 52,000. That gives us a bigger player pool, but less processing time, right? We don't have all the leagues loaded and all the fixtures getting played every time we hit the space bar or hit continue, but we do have key players from those big teams. So once you've selected the leagues you want and the size of database that you want and loaded your game up, you'll be faced with this screen where you choose your manager and your avatar. It's at this point that I recommend hitting the save game button. Huge shout out to Jack over at Work the Space who did a similar video to this. I didn't use this technique before, but this is perfect, and so shout out to you, Jack. The benefit to this is obviously that you don't have to continually, every time you want to start a new save, load up all the leagues and choose the leagues, etc. As long as you have the kind of idea of the base leagues that you want in the save that you're playing, it's already ready to go for you. Next tip is to take the tutorials. You know these little annoying blue and purple boxes that pop up? Yeah, I mean those. Take the scouting induction now. I'm as bad as you. I skip through them. I shouldn't do, because it's a new game, Football Manager 2022. There are new things which we can learn from these tutorials. Always where possible, if you've got the time, read the tutorials. Next tip is to set up your staff. It's one of the first tasks that I do every time I start a new save. To do this, I don't actually go over to the staff tab on the left hand side. I actually start on training. So the reason being is once you hit training, you can then move over to coaches, okay? The most important members of staff in your Football Manager 2022 life, especially at the start, are your coaches. Once you're at this screen, head on over to edit coach assignments and then just do a cheeky ask assistant to assign, okay? That should give you a good idea of how good your coaching staff is and what disciplines you really need to improve on. So I can see that I've got a decent amount of goalkeeping coach cover, but they're not actually that good. So handling is only 4 stars, so I need to improve my goalkeeping coach. My tactical defending coaching is pretty poor, considering this is a Chelsea squad. This should be close to 4 or 5 stars, but it's only 3. Same with defending technical. The rest not too bad, but fitness needs work as well. So then I would head on over to the staff bar, head straight to staff search and search for some squad members that can come in and just overhaul my training and get my players developing to where they need to be, right? I just get it done straight away, because then you don't have to touch it almost ever again. So that moves us on to the next tip, and the 3 key attributes that you need to be looking at for all of your staff members, in my opinion, are motivation, determination, is that a thing? Determination, and level of discipline. Make sure you've ticked all those 3 and we'll filter from 15 to start with, okay? Once you've filtered from 15, head on over to include and make sure you're including your own staff members in this search, because you might not be that familiar with who your coaches are and how good they are straight away in the save. I know I certainly am not here. So having them on this list really helps, right? And then I can search for my coaches. I can see here straight away there's a load of good goalkeeping coaches who've got 15s in those 3 key attributes, but are also very good at coaching goalkeepers, who I can sign and will immediately beef up my coaching disciplines. Approach to sign this guy here. Happy days. I'm not going to look too much at the numbers. I know he wants to be a goalkeeper coach. Exit talks. Happy days. That process then gets repeated across all of your coaches to optimize your coaching disciplines. Next tip is scouting. Head on over to your scouting page here on the left hand side, then go to players, and you can see we are now at the player search screen. This is one of the integral parts of Football Manager, finding players that are better than the players that are currently in your team, right? It's what Football Manager is all about. But did you know at the top left here you have a recruitment package? Very, very important to make sure that you have the highest recruitment package possible. So here we're going from Europe to world. That then increases the amount of players that we see on our player search screen. I've made the mistake in the past and I've left this recruitment package on Europe or UK and Ireland, and a few years into my save I've realized that I haven't been looking at the full data set of players available to my team, and therefore giving myself a worse chance of success in Football Manager, right? So when we talk about staff, for me the assistant manager is the most important staff member that you have outside of your coaches, but he is a coach as well essentially. The reason being that you rely a lot on your assistant manager for reports on how your team are performing and ultimately the ability and the potential ability of your players. That is why I always demand that my assistant manager has at least 15 in judging player ability and 15 in judging player potential. When we head onto the squad screen here and sort our players by ability and sort our players by potential, I need to know that my assistant manager has got these numbers correct. There's no point in me judging my squad depth and my squad ability and my squad potential by star ratings that are incorrect. So get your assistant manager and make sure that those attributes for judging player potential and judging player ability are spot on. Next, did you know you can customize almost every view in Football Manager? For example, if we go to scouting to look for some players and then insert a column about, for example, let's say minimum fee release clauses, we'd head to contract and then clause release and then minimum fee release clause. Then on our main search menu, we will have every single minimum fee release clause pertaining to that player. We can sort by minimum fee release clause, and then again we can see all of the massive ones and scroll down, you can see all of the small ones as well. It's always a good idea then, once you've made that custom view, which is what we've done there essentially by adding that column, to rename, head onto your view menu and rename that view to something that you remember or something that's significant to you and to your task which you're performing at the time. So we could go to manage views, change the name of copy of general info, which is generally what they'll be called, copy of something something, and we can call this 1 2 3 4 5. Now we can see there on the left hand side that our view for minimum fee release clauses is called 1 2 3 4 5 for some reason. Next is one of my favorites, and it's how to save money in Football Manager. It's the monthly installments. Here we have Erling Haaland, my scout telling me that his minimum asking price will be £96 million. Let's see if we can buy him for half of that. We'll head on to the make a transfer screen. There we've got 96 million preset into the offer. Let's see what happens when we offer 50 million upfront. Then we click add, scroll down to installments, then across to installments 12 monthly, then down to 3 installments. Bring that figure to say 15. That then makes the value of that transfer £65 million, and you can see that total at the bottom there. That's 3 times 15 plus 50 million. Maybe I'll add an extra 5 million onto that to make the value of the transfer 70 million, which would be something I think at least Borussia Dortmund will reply to and will suggest those terms. Okay, so Borussia Dortmund have said they need a little time to think about that. We've just made an offer which will only cost us 50 million out of our transfer budget, which might land us Erling Haaland. So what do we do once we've got all these players into our team, like our Erling Haalands, etc.? How do we keep these guys happy? Well, luckily, there's a screen for that in Football Manager. If you head on over to the dynamics on the left-hand side, you can then kind of see all the sort of things that are going on inside your squad. You've got top influences here. I've got Cesar Azpilicueta and Romelu Lukaku. Team cohesion, club atmosphere, then issues down the bottom here. This is where any problems that are causing issues in your squad will be noted down, and it's up to you as the manager or your team to deal with them to make sure that the happiness in your squad doesn't go in the wrong direction. There's a screen for that as well. Click over here on the right hand side of the top bar and you can see how happy every player is, right? But you can sort that by morale, training, treatment, club management and playing time. That all adds into overall happiness. Obviously there are different ways to deal with different reasons of unhappiness. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, and you're not going to be able to keep everyone happy all of the time, but pay more attention to your team leaders and your highly influential players. Thank you very much for watching the quick tips video today. Do hit a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Hit subscribe if you're new. Plenty more Football Manager 2021 content on the channel now and coming soon. Thanks for watching again. See you later.